Hello and welcome to another Whiskey Wednesday with Thad and Evan of On Purpose Media, where it's just good people hanging out, having good conversation, and any good conversation worth having is worth having drunk.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Good to see
Yeah,
you.
I already drank before the cheers, so whatever, I'll
Bad
drink
luck,
again.
isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's Whiskey Wednesday. You just drink your whiskey and have a good time. So I'm coming at you live from our kitchen.
Fun.
Yeah, with those
I'm
fancy
in the
tiles in the
basement suite
background.
where it's also my office. So
Hey,
it's great.
yeah, that's fair. I got kicked out of the office today for this one. So that happens sometimes. My wife and I, for those that do not know, we end up sharing an office in our house because we both work from home. So it's nice, but also has its inherent challenges as well. So, well, let's jump into it. We have our random question generator, and this time you are generating the question for me versus me sniping and choosing my own question on that. But for those that are watching, we do not know what the questions are ahead of time. It is, in fact, a random question, and there's no edits either. We just one take, we go. Except for, what was it, 2 weeks ago, we had to redo the whiskey show because I fucked up. And deleted the
Technically, it
recording.
wasn't an edit, though. It was just a redo because,
Yeah, it was a redo. So
yeah, it's all good.
But cool. Well, Kay, do you want to paper, rock, scissors, and the winner gets to ask the question? Ask the question first. Best
3,
of
2,
one.
1, go. You were so late on that. Fuck.
Bam.
There you go. All right, go.
I think it was lag time on that. So the question that I have for you is, what is the most unprofessional thing you've seen someone do?
Do a business show while drinking whiskey.
I don't know if that's unprofessional.
Nah, no, not at all.
Not a chance.
Most unprofessional thing I've seen someone do. The one that always irks me is when you don't stand up to shake someone's hand, which I know you're not supposed to do anyways, but even to just greet someone when you're sitting down and you're being introduced to someone else who's standing up and you don't stand up to acknowledge them. Yeah, that's just, it always irks me. It always irritates me when people don't do it. It is what it is. I keep it to myself, but that's the one that always just drives me nuts.
And such a simple thing to do.
So simple.
You know, so
it's a sign of respect. That's
100%.
all.
So,
yeah.
Well, you see it on like we're watching Godless right now on Netflix, and it's like 1800s, but like just the respect that they had back in that show, and just like respect has gone by the wayside in a lot of situations in today's day and age. So it's not really there. What was there was another word. Oh, chivalry as well is definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely dead.
Oh, 100%. Ask my wife. Jokes aside, I love my wife.
For the record.
For the record, we just brought her changed her cell phone bill around a little bit and brought her under a different plan, and I called Telus as a result. I was the one who was on the phone making it happen. But when we were back and forth, and I had the headset on, I was chatting with her, handed over, and we were kind of chirping each other. But this headset picks up a lot of the background noise, and the lady on the other end of the line at Telus, she's like, "Man, you two are awesome." I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, you guys just chirp each other, having a good time. But so we chirp each other, have a good time, but obviously have the respect there. So
nice.
Cool.
As long as she can keep up with you, that's good.
Yeah, that's all that matters, because I can be a little bit of a dick.
A little bit.
Asshole, maybe.
Ready for your question?
I guess so. So,
what kinds of things are normal now, but will be highly valued antiques a century later?
So, what kind of things are normal now, but will be highly valued antiques later?
A century later.
A century later. Cool. I was just writing that down so that way I have that for when we do the snippets at the end. Be highly valued antiques a century later. Wow. Like obviously that's almost like material things. I always think of, I mean, this is me just going down a rabbit hole, you know, you think about like iRobot, you know, with Will Smith. And I was actually having this thought the other day with just the automation of artificial intelligence, of how it's radically changing things. And radically moving things down, you know, the path of becoming more productive. So I think that there's going to be some jobs that are going to be, I mean, I know they're not really antiques, but you look at, for example, the assembly line in vehicles, and I was going to go down the line of vehicles and gas powered vehicles that I think down, you know, 100 years down the road, especially with the push to renewables in electric vehicles, you know, on that, I think is kind of be one of the biggest antiques that are going to be there, but also some of the jobs that are repetitive, mundane, routine tasks. But the offshoot of that is that there's going to be a lot more jobs that are going to be created as a result of artificial intelligence. And so it's not necessarily going to take jobs away. I mean, you look at farming, for example, 100 years ago, farming was small farms that were, you know, families that were running it. They had, you know, a couple parcels of land and they're doing it. Now you're seeing a reduction in the amount of farm workers, but there's an increase in the amount of crop output. And those individuals, I mean, our employment rate has still, has probably even gotten better since, you know, those days. So I think that's kind of my long-winded answer. That it'll be gasoline and cars and
Nice.
jobs and related to, you know, repetitive mundane tasks as the result of artificial intelligence.
Totally. Well, and you think of going back to your farming example, like everyone that grew up on a farm that no longer is in the farming industry because it's become so industrialized, they still have jobs now. They're just no longer working on a farm. Now they're working in the city and they're doing an office job or some other service-based job, right? It's just been repurposed, right? And
Yep.
the same idea is going to happen when automated trucks are now on the roads and you no longer need that semi-truck driver to be operating the vehicle. Taxi drivers, same thing. And I was having this conversation with my niece not long ago, like the knowledge is available for everyone. Like if you're in that industry and you don't see that this is coming and this change is happening now, like it's not coming today, it's not coming tomorrow, but 4 years from now, right, it's a high likelihood that majority of them are going to be replaced. So what can you learn now? What new skill could you develop? What new skill could you learn so that you can go and apply yourself in some other area that's going to maybe even make you happier, right? So I think that you're definitely onto something with what you're saying there in terms of jobs and just that repurposing of manpower and human power, I should say.
Yeah, and I can't take credit for that. I read a book, listened
Totally.
to a book, you know, on it. I only got a quarter of the way through the book because he just essentially kept repeating himself over and over and over again, saying the different thing 10 different ways. And I was like, okay, this book. And so I think I stopped the book and returned it because it wasn't doing it for me. But that was the big thing that I took out of it.
Totally.
You know, was that. So
Love it.
cool.
Love it.
All right, let's rock into the agency roundup. I again forgot to set a timer to keep this to 15 minutes, but hey, you drink one whiskey, that's about 15 minutes. So
That's about that.
yeah. So agency roundup. Let's flip it over to yourself. What was you know, your big win, your big learning experience, etc. in building a business, building the agency?
I mean, tons of learning experiences as we're going through this coaching that we're doing right now. Learning a lot about niching down and actually had a couple good conversations with clients about them niching down in their markets. One of which was really fantastic. He's a personal trainer. And so his current website is geared towards his local personal training business. And it was really cool to have that conversation with him where he's like, well, I don't know if I should niche down to just weight loss and the average population, or should I go even deeper? And he got really passionate about talking about eating disorders and people with eating disorders because it was something that he battled with personally. And so there was a deep connection that he had there. And just when he started speaking about it, like you could see this fire inside of him and this passion that was there to really help them. And I'm like, dude, that's it. But then he was like, is it too niched? And I was like, well, you got to think of it differently than a local business. Like, yeah, if you're trying to niche down to that just in Edmonton, your clientele is minimal, but when you're on the internet, your clientele is everywhere. You've got more clients possible online than you do in the entire city of Edmonton that are battling with eating disorders and trying to find a healthy way to stay fit, right? And so that was a huge win for me. Just having that conversation and be able to take some of the knowledge that we've been learning and reapply it. And then the other one is just sticking true to our values and not overselling someone something that they don't need yet. And the example was it's a new business, brand new, they're just launching, came to us to talk about a website, and they're looking at this beautiful, like 6, 7, 9-page website and sending me these examples of that's what they want. And I had to turn around and just say, look, I know this is what you want, but it's more than you need right now. And you don't have any money coming in. So let's get something up at a lower cost, take those dollars that you would have been spending on a bigger website, turn it around and spend it on marketing to drive people to your website. So then you can actually start making some sales. Then you can always expand your website. So it was a cool conversation to have them have that light bulb moment where, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just, yeah, do the right thing. And just be honest with people and not try to oversell them on something just because it makes us more money, but puts them in a deeper hole when they're just getting started.
Yeah, no, 100%. I wish I could figure out, actually, I think this might be the song. I don't know if you can hear it. An ad might come up. But it's a song that, the videos or the sound's not going to go through because it's coming through my headphones.
On your headset.
Yeah. Right. It's, fuck. I don't know why I try to do these things and then what was Zoom call. But do the right thing. I'm not going to sing it either because it'd be horrible. But that's 100% true point. I had a call with somebody here today that's in the HVAC industry, and during the call, he was what he thought he needed, and so I pitched him on that, and then after I was like, shit. That's not necessarily what he needs. It's what he wants to do, but isn't what he needs to do. So when I followed up via, the email, I just said, stop putting the money into that. That's something for when you've grown your business. And it was, specifically SEO, and like, there's nothing wrong with SEO. But if he wants to take his business and double his sales within the next calendar year, SEO is going to be a part of that, but it's not going to be the biggest thing that's going to drive the needle within the year because it takes time to do that. And so it was, coming back to those values and those roots, which is a key thing. So cool.
Love it.
All right.
What's your big win for the week?
Creating the systems around a framework, i.e. Messages. And so we've, as part of our coach, one of the things that we've undertaken and done is trying to streamline our outbound process. So we're not spending as much time, let's say making cold calls, for example, right? You can't really infinitely scale a business on just cold calls alone. You need some form of inbound generation, whether that's attraction marketing, running an ad, Google AdWords, whatever, right? But it's what do you do once you have those inbound leads come in, right? How do you nurture them? How do you talk to them? How do you have specific conversations? And what I found over the last couple of days was a lot of that conversations are the same. They're custom to the person depending on where they're at, but there's a lot of responses that were a lot of the same. And so building out a framework to be able to handle those custom things, and it's funny because in some of those conversations, some of those would have taken 4 or 5 minutes to type up the response, but instead it's click, copy, paste, send. So it helps the speed of things, with it. It's still a custom conversation because it's specific to each person, and you've got to kind of think through that a little bit to try to get them down that path, and you're tweaking things. So it's not like a cookie cutter. They say this, automated response says this. No, it's not as simple as that. So I think that was, the biggest win, and just having some of the automatic inbound strategies that we've been talking about, that we've wanted as an agency, finally start to come to fruition today. It's been a crazy day, with trying to get people, onto what we call those discovery calls, right? And having them to see if we're good fits, right? I mean, as you said, we don't want clients, we want partners. I don't want to take on just a client. I want somebody who wants to be a partner in really growing their business and taking it to the next level. And that's been, an exciting thing for us. I love the dream that you shared. Was it this morning that we chatted? Of eventually having, a retreat style seminar for our clients where we teach some high level shit. It's a great dream and a goal to go after. And I think it's a very attainable dream to have that. But you also have to have that in there, which is to be able to dream and scheme. That's the way I call it. So
totally.
Yeah,
well, it's part of that natural progression for a business owner to go from being the technician and being so involved in the business to then the next step of almost more of a manager role, where now you're overseeing the operations, you're not in it. But then the next step is that entrepreneur, where now it's how big can we actually make this and scale it and systematize it so that you can step away for weeks on end and the business still runs. And it's not that you're stepping away because you don't love it, but just because you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And just to have that freedom and that ability, like that's where business continues to grow and continues to evolve. And the difference between the person who's good and great, the person who's great and extraordinary, and the person who's outstanding are very minimal things, and it's little mind shifts to get you to that next level. And it's mostly an internal thing. It's not the external of trying to do more. It's the mindset shift of how can we get the right people around us to do more, right? The idea of who, not how do we do things. So yeah, super excited to run those leadership style seminars down the road and really have a massive, massive impact on business across North America.
100%. I'm super excited about that. That kind of got me fired up this morning. So to help, I don't necessarily need the fired up part of getting the work done. You just go out and do it and get done because it needs to get done in order to build our business and our dream, with that. So cool. Well, that's pretty much the end of my whiskey. So I don't know how you're doing, but
there's some water in there from the ice now. So
another Wednesday down. So
it's like a second drink.
Yes, exactly. With a little bit of hydration into that. So, and this Wednesday we won't have to have two. Well, I shouldn't say that now, but because we'll find out eventually. But anyways, thanks for watching. Obviously, whatever platform that you're watching this on, be sure to like, follow, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's going to be a little suggest button or subscribe now button. Be sure to click that. It might be down there. It might be up there. I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes YouTube does its own little funny thing depending on the video itself. But be sure to like, follow, subscribe, tune in to our episodes. And thank you again for watching. Cheers.
Cheers.